since 1997. I've been in the recruiting technology space. So this is the fourth downturn that I've kind of lived through. And boy, oh boy, this is just confusing as all get out. There are conflicting signals everywhere about what's going to happen. So on the one hand, compared to where we were, before COVID, employment levels have risen steadily, just continues to step on up. So that's good, right? And at least for the economy, it's good. For us as recruiters, it's a little bit difficult. Workers are looking again. So, what you have is, in the depth of COVID, people stepped out of the labor market. But now, if you take a look at the prime age labor force participation rate, which is an economic measure of the percentage of people in prime working age, 25 to 54, who are looking for work, it's not quite at where it was before COVID hit, but it's recovered nicely. I mean, fundamentally, it's going up and to the right. So, that's telling us that we've got, demand is high. We've got people coming back into the labor rate. We've got, especially notice here, who's the number one people that signed up for this webinar? Manufacturing. Number two, healthcare. Demand is super high for employers. For workers. So, all that means is that we have a fundamental mismatch of supply and demand. So if you take a look at the blue line, what you have here is the number of folks that are available to work. And the red line is the job postings that exist. And so again, going back to 2010, over a decade ago, fundamentally there are always more jobs open than there. There were way more people looking for work or unemployed than there were jobs open. And now that's inverted. And so at one level, it's like, all right, supply and demand mismatch, things are going to be super, super hot and continue to be hot. So, but then there's this. You've got the Fed aggressively raising interest rates to kind of tamp down the economy, to in essence reduce inflation. In fact, if you go back a couple of weeks, you had this really surreal Fed meeting where the chairman of the Fed said that, we're raising interest rates to endeavor to increase unemployment. For the longest time, the goal of the Fed was to keep inflation low and to create good jobs in the economy. But now, because inflation's so high, they actually need to increase unemployment to kind of tamp that down. And so, while there's a supply and demand mismatch, more demand than there is supply, all of a sudden, monetary policy is kind of being enacted that's meant to tap the brakes. Okay, so that's confusing. Moreover, during the pandemic, really interesting thing happened. People put more money in the bank. Personal income did pretty okay, especially at the lower levels of the income of the salary ranges that people have. So the relatively poorer population in the United States had more money in their checking accounts, had got more money saved than they have in the past. And now, why? Well, a whole variety of reasons why. Some of them are government related in terms of stimulus checks, also pay going up as a result of the fact that people were leaving the workforce, and so employers were forced to pay more. Now all of a sudden, though, you're starting to see the disposable income that people have available to them going down. What's that going to do? Well, that also is going to have an impact on the economy. It also is going to probably push more people into the labor market. So, lots of noise. And then, you've got, even though unemployment insurance claims are, really relatively low by historical standards, they're starting to tick up just a little bit, especially in the technology sector. I was out in California a few weeks ago and meeting with some of the biggest tech companies in the United States, and I can tell you that they are they are turtled up right now. And so, looking at planning in a whole new way, definitely hiring freezes, kind of the quiet layoffs, where there's a real focus on performance. And so, what's going to happen in terms of recruiting? What's the crystal ball? I don't know. I mean, historically difficult macro recruiting environment difficulties, again, huge demand for workers, even today, 40 to 50% above where it was pre-pandemic, low supply of workers to meet that need. You got the Fed trying to, slow down the economy, decrease demand. You've got personal income and savings from folks going down, which again will push more people into the labor market. So theoretically, you could have this situation where the Fed, it brings down the number of jobs that are open, and more people are entering the market because they have less money saved. So you've got on one side something that says it's going to be a bull market for recruiting, and on the other side it's going to be a bear market. Super confusing.